Welcome to the installation video for Microtek scanners under Windows 95. This installation video is for Windows 95 only. If you're installing your scanner for anything besides Windows 95, please refer to your Microtek scanner installation guide for information on how to install your scanner and your interface card. Due to complexity of Windows 95, we have put this videotape together. If you follow this videotape step by step, we will guide you through the installation of your scanner and your interface card under Microsoft Windows 95. This video is approximately 25 minutes, and please make sure before you start installing your scanner and your interface card that your Microsoft Windows 95 is installed properly on your computer. Let's begin. After unpacking your scanner, you will have the following key components in it. You have the scanner, you have the power cord, you have some software which may come on CD-ROM or floppy disks, you have the scanner interface cable, and the scanner interface card. The scanner interface card is manufactured by a company called Adaptec, and the scanner interface card uses an interface called the SCSI interface. Do not install any of this hardware on your computer yet. We need to first go ahead and install all of the software on your system. This concludes step number 1, and we're ready to move on to step 2. Go ahead and take out a notepad and write down the word interrupt on it. You don't need to know what an interrupt is, just that the scanner interface card needs to use an interrupt in order for Microsoft Windows 95 to communicate with your scanner. What we are going to do in this step is look at your computer and find an available interrupt to use for your scanner. In order to look at your Windows 95 configuration, we need to start up the computer into Windows 95, and then go and click on the Start button, go to Settings, and choose Control Panel from that. The Control Panel group file will then come up. Look for an icon called System in it, and double-click it. That will bring up the system properties for you. Go ahead and click on the second option here, which is called Device Manager, and then go down and click on Properties. That brings up the Computer Properties dialog for you. What we are looking at in this window is we are looking at a list of all of the interrupts that this particular computer is using. Your scanner interface card can use an interrupt between 9 and 12. What we are doing here is looking for a number between 9 and 12 which is not in this list. Looking at this particular computer, you can see that number 10 and number 12 are not in this list. That means we can use either 10 or 12 in this case. The default setting of the scanner interface card jumpers are interrupt number 10. So if you have number 10 as an available number which is not in this list, that's the number you want to choose to use with your interface card. If none of the numbers can be used, in other words, if you see 9, 10, 11, and 12 all showing up in this list, you then need to contact your dealer or your computer manufacturer in order to find out how you could free up a number between 9 and 12 to be used with the scanner interface card. Once you have chosen a number, we are done with this dialog, and we can go ahead and click on cancel, and then cancel again to close it. Remember that on this particular computer, we chose number 10. We are now going to go to our notepad and make a note of interrupt number 10. Going back to our notepad, go ahead and write down the number for the interrupt you just read from your computer. On my particular computer, remember number 10 was the available number, so I write down 10. On your computer, if you have number 10 available, that's the number we want to choose because that is the default for the scanner interface card. If not, write down the first number that you see between 9 and 12 on this notepad. This concludes step 2. We are ready to move to step 3. In order to tell Windows 95 how to recognize your interface card, go back to the control panel group, which should still be open on your screen, and look for an icon called Add New Hardware, and double-click it. That will bring up the Add New Hardware wizard. Click on the Next button down below. On the next dialog, select No when you're asked by Windows if you want Windows to search for your new hardware. And then go down below and click on Next. From the next screen that shows up, use the scrolls on the right-hand side to scroll down to SCSI controllers. Highlight SCSI controllers and click Next. Remember that, as I mentioned before, your scanner interface card uses a communication called SCSI. That's why we select SCSI controllers here. Click Next. From the next list of models that show up on the screen on the right-hand side, scroll down by clicking on the scroll bar until you see Adaptec AVA 1502 SCSI host adapter. This is the model name of the scanner interface card that you have received with your Microtek scanner. Highlight that and click on Next, which is down below right here. From the next screen that appears on your computer, you don't want to do anything. Do not pay attention to any of these numbers and just click on Next. We are going to go back later and make some adjustments to these numbers. This is the last menu. You want to click on Finish. When you're asked to shut down your computer, you want to select No. And basically, the next thing we want to do is go back in the control panel into the system icon, which is right down here. Double click that. Once again, that brings up system properties. Go and select Device Manager, which is the second item from the top here. Click it. You're going to see a list that shows on your screen in this window. This is a list of all of the devices that are installed on your computer. You want to look for SCSI controllers section And right below it, you want to look for Adaptec AVA 1502 SCSI host adapter, which is the model name of your scanner interface card. Select that by clicking on it once, as you can see right here. If you don't see this selection, you may have to use these scroll bars to scroll down to it, and then select it. Go and click on the Properties button, which is here on the lower left corner of the screen. From the next screen that shows up, we want to go over to the top and select the last button, which is called Resources. Click on that. Now, this screen will show up on your computer. You have two items here: input-output range and interrupt request. First, click on input-output range once and click on the change setting button right here. Look in the box that says value next to it. What we want to do here is we want to make sure this number is set for 0140-015F. You can do that by clicking on these arrows, the up and down arrow, until that number shows up in the value box as such. As you can see, 0140-015F. Once you have changed this range, go down below and click on the OK button to close this dialog box. Once again, you'll go back to your previous screen, which was input-output range and interrupt request. This time, we want to select the interrupt request by clicking on it once, and then going down and clicking on the change setting button. A screen similar to